So it's in the gear right now to know. So I'm just going to bring you up to speed so we can continue here. So just to simplify what he's saying that the neshama comes down here in order to engage. Fishel, welcome back. In order to engage in the avodah, to carry out the shlichus, which is the avodah sabirurim, to refine and elevate the world. So he identified there's two refinements. Well, there's two ways to refine the world. Extract the godliness, the good from the bad, or the bad from the good. There's two directions of birur. Moreover, in the refinement of the world altogether, there is Hillel and Shammai embracing and elevating the spark, or the good, or Shammai rejecting it because it's not refined enough. We dealt with that to some degree earlier. At any rate, there's two ways of birur, and that's why Oiv Hashem Sharid Sim Mikol Mishkanis Ya'akov, God loves the gates of Tzion, which means, as the Gemara explains, She'orem HaMetziyonim Ba'alocha, the gates that excel. Tzion means excel, stand out. In halacha, because the halacha gives the final ruling and empowerment for the actual birur, the refinement of the world, one way or another, in the various directions of the birur. He explained that tefillah is from below to above, and then he explained also the birur that happens from above to below. But then there's a third birur, which is not dealing with the oichel and psoilus, metaphorically food and waste, or dross, or the silver and the dross, but rather oichel mitoich oichel, within Kedusha itself, one level of elevation beyond the other. And that's also radical, and explained the Omid, the pillar that separates the lower Gan Eden from the high Gan Eden, and explained at length how the neshama must undergo a complete state of bittul to ascend from the lower to the higher. And we dealt with this over the last couple of shiurim at length. Then he said that the be'emes, that avodah is lost at love. Really, it's only in the future where the avodah, the aliyah, the birur, the refinement will be in Kedusha itself. Omnam, rapta omnam. So rapta omnam, which is the third paragraph of what you say.
Oisches.
Sorry, oisches, yeah. This mimer is a very elemental mimer in addressing the whole avodah of birurim, of refining the world. There's a lot of detail here and nuance. So he just said, the final point was that now we're engaging in refining the world, extracting the good from the bad, or removing the bad from the good. It's only when Mashiach will come that the avodah will be within Kedusha itself. V'achaltem ochel v'soiva, as explained the pasuk, one of the nevuos in Sefer Yoel. However, omnam kivin shekol yonim de lasadlava yiboim adei masin v'avedesein v'meshach managola, since the whole what is revealed in Mashiach comes through our mais and our avodah. You recall the dik of Rabbi Leivik Maisa and Poshet. The Maisa is the action. Avodah is the kavana, which we do throughout the course of Golus, which we mentioned many times. This is one of the profound revelations of Chassidus, that the redemption is not some predetermined state, a reward that you get after X amount of good deeds, you've earned it, or suffering, etc. That's not the case. The redemption is a result of and a consequence of our very avodah. And that profound insight has huge ramifications and answers all kinds of questions. First and foremost, it points to the fact that it's all about relationship with the God, not reward and punishment, where God is completely unmoved. You do this, you get rewarded. You do that, you get punished, and you get cleansed, and then you'll get the reward. And it's all predetermined. You'll hit the jackpot. Here's the reward. You do so many mitzvahs, you get so much. Many brownie points less, you get less. It's not. It's a real relationship that evolves and that we are the primarily movers and partners, in a sense, in that relationship. And so it's all dependent, the quality and the nature of the revelation of Mashiach and the godliness. And when Mashiach comes, it's all dependent on our Avodah, which is the reason why it's going on this long, because you want it darker, you want it deeper, to quote Leonard Cohen. I think it's his last song, or second to last song. You want it darker? Because dafka, through the transformation of darkness, is even the greater light, which we do. At any rate, so therefore he's saying that the avodah of eichel mitoich eichel v'achaltem ochel v'savoya is really, that's lasted lavai. But it's all dependent on avodah now, so therefore it has to be applicable now. Now also there's the avodah of a Jew elevating himself within the world of Kedusha to radical levels beyond the current level, at least bisman hamiyachadim mezgula. It's certain, not all the time, when we're still dealing with actual ra, actual psoilus, actual dross, but certain times in mezgula and auspicious times, a yid is shayches and must engage in this avodah. Or b'chlolos, and in general, as we explained before, that this is the neshama going into from the lower Gan Eden to the high Gan Eden. I mean, it just doesn't elaborate, but there are certain times, certain tefillas that reflect that. One of the times is Mincha on Shabbos. So what's in Gan Eden Elyon? Gan Eden Elyon is really Bina. But through Avodah, we reveal the level of Chochmah and Pnimius HaChochmah. Okay, the Avodah, this was addressed earlier in Ois 6. The lower Gan Eden is Malchus, dominated by Malchus. The high Gan Eden is dominated by Bina. And through Avodah, there's two levels of Eden. No, Yotzim Eden. At the outset of creation, a river flows out of Eden. That's Chochmah, Gluya, the revealed level of Chochmah. But through Avodah, we draw on the Eden, this level of Eden, the higher level of Eden, which is Chochmah Stimah. The hidden, this was all explained earlier, which is beyond rationale entirely. We asked how this could be understood. So where it's coming into Bina. Explained at length the two kinds of knowledge, affirmative knowledge, or knowledge that strips away, that we arrive at the essence by stripping away the manifestation, not jettisoning it, not removing it, but by revealing its pnimius, as we explained yesterday and the day before. So what's the Avodah? The fourth level. We say every morning, we just said it. And the Shamash and the Satabi, we say Tahirihi, it's pure. Then we say Ato Varatza, you created it, Ato Yitzarta, you formed it. So that's 1, 2, 3, and then Ato Nafachtabi, you blew it into me. So we identify 4 levels. So what's the Avodah in Kedusha Gufa? It is to reach the level of Tahirihi. Now he elaborates. He quotes it for us. So it's known the kasha, and this is which we say, it's pure, you created it, you formed it, you blew it into me. So the obvious question is, how can you talk about it altogether before you created it? It's pure. So there's an it before, and then you created it. Before you created it, there's no it. It only emerges at creation. And push at the shaila at the simple level of the tefillah. The simple answer is it's not a level. It's a general introduction. The neshama is pure. Period. You created it, you formed it, you blew it into me. That's Pasha the Pshat. L'chayra. Because it's a question which, it's so obvious. How can you talk about something before it's created? But Apichsidis, it's a level. It's a general statement that describes all three descriptions that follow. It's pure. And then we describe its purity. Created, formed, blew it into me. No, it's actually a level. And that's actually more pshuta shel mikra. Tahira is state number one about it. Before we even talk about Barasa, as always, an explanation of Chassidus is actually more literal. Tahira statement about it already. And then we introduce Barasa, Tzartas. How can you speak about it being pure before it's created? The answer is there is taka the level, the manifested conscious level of the neshama k'vish b'chinas bria, as it exists in the world of bria. Shu'in yeshmayin, there it's a creation like everything else. And before that, it didn't exist as a bria, as a nivra, as a created being. It starts at the world of bria. However, yes. But before the neshama emerges as a created being, it does exist before, but not as a created being. One with God, not a creation, nothing. Completely one with Hashem. This is the chelik al-kamim al-mamish. Heder ha-mitzias. It's not an entity separate from God. And how is it referred to? That's the pure essence, the pintalayit of the neshama. That's pure. That's before you created it, where it assumes an identity and a form and becomes a being. So this is the avodah to reach Gan Eden Elyon again. This is in general terms, this is Gan Eden Elyon. This is the avodah of the neshama from below to above. That we should elevate the neshama and to mipchinas barasa from the levels of you created, you formed aditzat and afacht, mipchinas teiri to the level of teirihi, and it's not simply going back to the level of teirihi. So what's achieved? Leave well enough alone. To go back to teira, we started there. Los leben, leave us alone. As my friend said in class, leave me alone. To our beloved teacher, but he wouldn't leave him alone. We remember because he said it, my friend said it with an accent, leave me alone, thinking that this way the teacher would understand better. But the answer is that the level of tahirihi, I'm asking a question, give me, what's the answer? He just said here that we're going back to tahira. So I'm asking you, so what's been achieved? Started there.
What's the question?
What's
the question?
He's saying that the avodah is to elevate the neshama to its original source of tahirihi, which is higher than the barasa teitzarta, where it emerges as a separate entity, a conscious separate entity. So I'm asking if the neshama starts at tahirihi, so the whole avodah is to go back to where you came from. He did the tzedek chalid, then what's the point of the whole exercise? There's got to be an aliyah. Why doesn't he add it here? He's just saying to level tahirihi, that's understood, that's the kavanah. But if that's what it is, then what's the point of the whole descent? What's the answer? Pshuta. So where are we? Are we at Tahiri or we're in Tachton? Where are we? Yeah, what you're saying is correct. It's to reveal the level of Tahiri in the Tachton, in the levels of Barasa, Yitzarta, Nafachta, and that draws on, it's not stated here, that draws on an essential level of Tahiri which the Neshama did not experience the Maila. Not that it's an experience altogether. It's not revealed in even the level of Neshama as it was the Maila Tahiri. The Atzmizdika level of Tahiri, when that, and the litmus test of that is, when this level suffuses the Tachten, then it's Etzer. Tahiri, he classically is incompatible with Barasa, Yitzarata, certainly Elam Haza. It's believable, it's infinite. But the essence, there's no barriers to the essence, all is godliness. So when the Pnimius of Tahiri is revealed, then it's revealed where? In the Atavaratza, Nata Yitzarata, Atanafakti, Vatavashamba, Bekirmi, and then Vata also little menu, like Zidlos Love it in the goof. Okay, just elaborating on it, doesn't say it because that is obviously intended. What did he just say now? Started saying that even though the Aveda of Eichel Betech Eichel, Gan Alien, and so on, is lost at Lovai, but it all depends on the Aveda. So there is this Aveda now too. At special times, Manam Yochodim. Okay, we'll leave it at that. Now we'll go further. He says, I mean, in general, what this is, when does Manam Yochodim? Chassidus, learning a Maimer. Certainly going to the Rebbe, which is Gan Eden Elyon. The oil is Gan Eden Elyon, if not higher. And that's available and revealed dafka at the end of Golus as the final achona to Mashiach. The Tahirahi. I'm suggesting this based on other places, but this manim miyachod in the special times in Beis Gula is now Dirashvi. Us. Tahirahi. I mean, I'll talk about this on Shabbos. I haven't formulated. I just wanted to share that I've never encountered this so powerfully. When B'nai B'rith put up in Mezuzahs, when it's the second visit already, we have to go a third time. We went, it's all before camp began. Camp began Thursday, so we went Wednesday, then last week. So Wednesday already there was scores and scores of staff. I know, but it was unbelievable. We were so moved, Nacham and I, how the kids, the staff members, older, younger, but everybody, how they responded to put on film with such purity. And we put up mezuzahs in every bunk. So some of the bunks were the girls' bunks, so I didn't go in. The Chama went, it would knock and put them up. Mostly they were empty, but the day before camp, so it was one bunk that the counselors were sleeping, a few counselors, and Chama comes out and tells me. So she walks in, very quietly. We weren't banging, they were put up by tape. But one of the counselors woke up and Chama says to her, she's in her sleep. She says, we were putting up mezuzot. And in her sleep, oh, thank you so much. And she drifted back to sleep. Who's talking? This is Mamish Tahiri. Pure Neshama. And one of the, putting it film with the boys, and and we're telling me putting up mezuzahs, and one of the boys says, I sleep over here. You're going to put it over there in that room? Yeah. Watching one of the boys as we were saying, Ach Tzadikim Fash Yisrael. And they're calling their friends. Come, I just a complete explosion of Tahirihi. Mamish. You see, there's a picture, and one of the pictures. If it's the first guy put on film, he put on film with him. I didn't know he was, and he's Israeli. They have a lot of Israelis. Turns out he's a lieutenant colonel, 26 years. He's a decorated war hero. He was wounded twice in Lebanon and then in Gaza. He was struck by a hand grenade, ripped open, still continued to fight, lead his battalion, till, and he puts on film. But this is what, I was almost in tears. Put film, sure. Once they're on, we find out who he is. And I'm putting the head film on him. He bows his head down, and as he did that, I'm thinking, Eibishter, what more do you want? What more do you want? He's lowering his head. That I should put the film on. I shouldn't have to. This Tahirahi is Pnimis Haneshama, the deepest way. This is our generation. They were so happy putting up the mezuzot. Oh, thank you. They were so happy. Now we're going to go back to the original questions. Who can count the earth, the granules of earth of Yaakov, and the number of the seed of Israel? That's the second Peter she's bringing from Rashi. So explain Shebeis at length. Explain to now Shebeis and Afar Yaakov Rabbi Yisrael, the earth and the seed. It's in Beis Ifanei Abir. There are the two kinds of elevation, of refinement that we've been speaking about in the whole Maimer. Number one, the earthy bitter is bitter b'chinas hapseilis mamish. That's extracting the spark from actual dross and waste. And in brackets, this itself goes two ways. Where they're removing the dross from the waste, the undesirable from the desirable, or the other way, removing the desirable from the undesirable. That's what Afar Yaakov, as he'll explain. And the number of Rov Yisrael, a bitter she'einish shaychlin apseilas, and the pasuk also refers to a refinement that's not dealing with waste and dross and the residual. We're talking kedusha itself. Food, as it were, from food, as explained earlier. There's different levels of food. Stam, Shulchan Malachim, and Hilchas Bishul, in the Bishul Achim, etc. There's different levels of food. So this is the level of bitter, Eichel b'toich Eichel. Now what's the connection to the Ofar, Yaakov, and Mispar, Yisrael, Yisrael? Continue. Ofar, earth, that obviously refers to materialism, crass materialism, tangible materialism. Chayma means material. In which there is the waste and there is the good. There's a spark within it. It has to be refined. The negative, the pseilis, is it conceals God. That's the pseilis. And the good is it can be used in Kedusha. Whether we're elevating it from below to above, it explained at length earlier, which means first to extract the gross pseilis and then more refined until you leave it in a purified state. Oh yeah, that's one way, that's from below to above. That's already satfila. The revelation comes from above to below. You're extracting the higher, more responsive parts to godliness are first connected to. And you descend further down. So that's the two directions. But Afar Yaakov, and therefore who's dealing with elevating the world in this nitty-gritty way? To be engaged in with the world and to elevate, to refine the coarse materialism and the waste. That's the lower levels of neshama deal with that engage the world then. That's called Yaakov. Yaakov is the heel, is the lower level. So this is all about action and behavior, doing the mitzvah, engaging the world, working it, transforming it, elevating it in these two directions, and that's the Avodah of Yaakov. That's a level of the neshama that engages the world. So if Yaakov asked a question, so Mimana means you cannot count. It's boundless, but we're dealing with a limited avodah. But we're dealing with a tangible physical avodah. And in the pasuk he declares, who can count it? Why? Beyond number, which is indicated when it comes to Reva Yisrael. Why? This is what he answers. The given Shaveda Levadet. Morning, Ari. The given Shaveda Levadet saying in the offer at the Ater mitzvah. How do you elevate the earth, the earthly world? It's a Torah mitzvah. Sheheim lemaylim akbala. They are beyond limit. Your mitzvahs are broad exceedingly, meaning to say without limit. And as a pearl gamlamata. So we bring the infinite, that's the chiddush, we bring God's infinite revelation, Torah mitzvahs, into the world, Bafar Yaakov, in the earthly, physical, finite world, that it becomes, who can count? The Mailim and Mispar, beyond number. Quite simply, Poshet, he does a mitzvah and elevates the world on the clock. It took a few seconds. You wrapped the film. And it's a physical film that went on, that went off, move on, bye. That moment was an infinite moment. That moment of bitter, of elevating, reveals Elikus in the world forever, and revealing what levels of Elikus, the Rechav Mitzchas Chamayod. These moments are forever moments, eternal moments. And as I say, we're living in a time, the Erev Mashiach, where the physical eye sees it. You see this kid put on film. You see a likus, the eternal neshama, the tahilihi, which is forever. All right, don't go away. We'll wait for a few more guys join, and then we'll start. Let's continue. And all right, so we'll stop here. Okay, Jeff has joined. Okay.
Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos. Psuras Toivos.